17 days. I want you to lock that number into your mind. 17 days. That is the exact span of time between the moment the internet warned DJ Warras that he was going to die and the moment a short man with dreadlocks walked up to him outside Carlton Center and made sure that warning became reality. If you're watching this and you truly want to understand how this country works, how the underworld is wired directly into everyday infrastructure, and why a man had to die simply for trying to fix a plumbing pipe, then you need to listen carefully to every single word that follows. And before we go any deeper, do me a favor, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe now because we are not stopping. We are going to keep digging. Now please, bring image number 5 onto the screen, the big one. We have to start with the mind of the victim. We have to understand what DJ Warras was thinking 17 days before he was killed. On November 29th, DJ Warras was on Twitter. He came across a post from Briefly News, a report about Vusimuzi Cat Matlala. Anyone who follows South African news knows that name. The article described Matlala's eerie calm while being questioned by authorities. It was a heavy story, a dangerous story, and Warras, being who he was, quoted it. He added his own commentary. He gave Matlala a label. He spoke his mind. But I don't want you to focus on what Warras wrote. I want you to focus on how people responded. Because this, right here, is where the real investigation begins. Glemini, zoom in on the reply from Senzo Naka. RIP in advance. Read that again. In advance. Those two words change everything. This wasn't someone wishing death on him. This was someone scheduling it. A verified user, a real person, looking directly at what Warras said and telling him, "You've crossed a line you can't come back from. The countdown has started." Now move your eyes down. Look at the comment from a user called Castle Larger. "Send me your ID number, bro. I need to open a policy fast. I want you to really think about that sentence. In South Africa, we have a very specific relationship with death and with insurance. We know hitmen are cheap. We know life is cheap. When a stranger on the internet asks for your ID number so they can open a life insurance policy, they are not joking. They are telling you that you are already dead. They are telling you that your body has a price tag. They are telling you that you are worth more dead than alive. This is a threat disguised as banter. This is the community saying, we know what happens to people who talk about these things. And this right here is the moment Warras understood it. Glemini, highlight Warras's response. He writes, "You, blank, are trying to get me killed, and so it's like that. I thought we were homies." Listen to the voice behind those words. He isn't joking anymore. He isn't trying to sound tough. He is asking a real question. You are trying to get me killed. In that moment, he realized the people following him were not his friends. They were spectators, sitting in a digital coliseum, waiting for the lion to tear apart the gladiator. He even replies to another user, Sonale, saying, "I am coming to hide at your house." Why would a grown man say that publicly? Because his instincts were screaming, because his survival mechanisms had kicked in, because deep down he knew something was wrong. He knew he was in danger. Now we need to shift our focus. We need to leave the internet and step into the real world, because in South Africa, people don't usually die over tweets. They die over rands. They die over power. They die over money. And DJ Warras was interfering with millions of rants. Clear the screen. I want you to play the audio files. Listen carefully to this man's voice. This isn't a DJ talking about the latest house track. This is a businessman describing a war zone. He's talking about the building he was managing. He calls it Zambezi.
Something I'm passionate about is taking back Johannesburg CBD. I think that allowing
Are you going to
CBD
get behind Gogo Helen?
I don't know if Gogo Helen is the horse that I would back.
Is there another horse?
I would, honestly speaking, the only horse that has proven to me he can and will do what it takes in that city is Herman Mashaba. He had a run. When he started doing what was going to make the impact, they said he's xenophobic. And at the time, we were hurt by words. That shit is over. Now people, well, I don't give a what you think you can say. I'm racist, sexist, misogynist. Call me whatever. I couldn't give a damn. Because I'm about how are we getting the work done. Things fixed. And when Herman Mashaba came in and he was like, we need to do something about the amount of illegal foreigners that are invading our cities and the degradation in the city. And these NGOs are working against us.
I
because
agree.
Their sustenance, in order to sustain their business model, they need the place to be a shithole. That's how they raise money.
Isn't that terrible?
It is absolutely shocking.
And they get money from Open Society and
that's it. Remember when Trump cut USAID?
Yeah.
And everybody got angry?
Yeah.
Even though he cuts it equally to everywhere.
Boom.
That's it. They were like, oh, he hates South Africa. He's cutting our aid. I'm like, he cut $40 million in funding for condoms in Mozambique. Bet you Trump hasn't even given Mozambique a second thought, but he's not sending $40 million worth of condoms. It's more condoms than there are men in Mozambique. What the
What's going on?
Because USAID was a massive slush fund.
Yeah, complete
Monies
scam.
were being sent
Complete
all over
scam.
the world. That's it. And we have a similar thing in the CBD. You will try to do something in a building where you're like, okay, these people are not paying rent. The building is wasting away here because maintenance needs to be done. If we are to get in, do the maintenance and fix the buildings, people need to get out. If I give that example, I'll have 10 lawyers there within an hour telling me they can't move these people unless I can provide alternate accommodation. Boss, everyone comes from somewhere. Go back there. There's so many people in a lot of these buildings that are genuine, hard-working people who just want a safe place to stay. They want to get to work and back. They want to raise their children, put them in school, build something for themselves back home where they come from. These are the people you meet. And they are like 85, 90% of the people. But there's that 10% that don't want progress to happen. Occupancy far exceeded. You've got 240, 250 rooms. You shouldn't have more than about 1,000 people, give or take. That's maximum. You've got well over 1,000 people living in this building because...
Pause right there. This is where we slow everything down and do the forensic accounting, because this is the part of the story that explains the bullets. You start with a building. On paper, it is designed to house maybe 300 people. In reality, it's holding over 1,000. So the first question is simple. Who put them there? The answer is the building syndicates, the hijackers, organized criminal groups that take over properties, put a gun to the security guard's head, remove the lawful owners, and then turn the building into a cash machine. They collect rent, cash only, no receipts, no records. Let's be conservative. Say they charge 3,500 Rand per person or per room split between people. With that level of overcrowding, you're looking at a revenue stream of 3 to 4 million Rand every single month, straight cash. That's 40 to 50 million Rand a year from one building. Now, put yourself in the shoes of the kingpin running that syndicate. You have tens of millions flowing into your pocket annually, untaxed, untraceable, uncontested. And then a man named Warwick Stock shows up. He buys the building or thing. I'm shutting this down. On a podcast, he explains what his plan is. He says he's installing biometrics, and I need you to understand what that word means in the criminal world. Biometrics is not an upgrade. It is an extinction-level event. Biometrics means fingerprints. It means facial recognition. It means a digital record of every single person who walks through that door. If you're a drug dealer using Unit 405 as a stash house, biometrics exposes you. If you're a human trafficker keeping girls in Unit 602, biometrics exposes you. If you're a ghost tenant paying illegal rent to a gangster, biometrics exposes you. Biometrics doesn't just threaten profit, it threatens identities, it threatens secrecy, it threatens the entire ecosystem. Now, Damini, play the section about the plumbing, because this is the smoking gun. This is the moment where street-level crime connects directly to state-level corruption.
When a contract is given for City of Joburg to fix the shit pipes, who does it go to? Spanbani Plumbing, connected to this fucking ex-hitman. How? I'm like, Uncle Wes, the plumbing, I see the sink is leaking. He's like, sink is leaking? Nigga, this is happening and this is happening. You've got a much bigger crisis than that. Call this guy. Sure. Call in a plumber. What race is the plumber? White, Afrikaans. My friend, let me tell you something. If I can show you what it looked like compared to what these guys put together, you'll understand why umsebenzi wakhe. You understand? The plumber comes in, he looks at the thing, he says, no, this doesn't work because when your occupancy goes up, the number of people that are shitting goes up. If a building is designed for 600 people to be shitting, ingalunga. If 1,800 people start shitting into the same toilets and the same pipes, you're going to have a problem.
That's traffic, Baba.
Nasok. Multiply that by not only this building, the building next door, this one on this block, this one on this block, all of a similar size. What's going to happen underground, under the road with the sewage system? Disaster. Now, you're able to run as the city of Joburg runs, ignoring these things. Because there's people living there and they're living perfectly fine. They're happy with how they're living. You understand? Abananking, they pay their rent for the most part.
Yeah.
Right? But I know, ngokubona kwami, this is not right. But I don't have the expertise to fix all the problems. Yeah. I'm here for one thing. I bring in that expertise from outside. I bring the most skilled people that I know. And within 2-3 months of us being on that building site, come and see what that building looks like now. Come and see the progress that we've made. Not me alone, as a team. Why can we not apply the same principle when it comes to the policies that we should be implementing to empower people? We need to get the most skilled into the positions where they are desperately needed. Case in point, the CBD. That issue that I just described, Uguti, what's causing this, that in the building is not only this way.
I want everyone to hear those exact words again and understand who they were aimed at. This is the most dangerous sentence he ever spoke. He didn't say corrupt businessmen. He didn't say shady individuals. He used one word, hitmen. On a public platform, he alleged that companies receiving tenders to fix Johannesburg's sewage system were fronts for former contract killers. He was saying, openly, that infrastructure money, including the 300 million rand he mentions later, was not just being misused, but was being stolen by murderers. Think about the enemies list Warras created for himself in that moment. First, there were the street syndicates, the building hijackers who were losing massive rental income because he was reclaiming the property. Second, there were the corrupt NGOs he spoke about, organizations he claimed needed the city to remain broken so they could continue securing overseas funding. And third, there were the tenderpreneurs, contractors allegedly connected to ex-hitmen who were draining the maintenance budgets meant to fix the city. He wasn't fighting a single battle. He was fighting a war on 3 different fronts, and he was doing it alone. He talks about bringing in his own people. He mentions Annie Williams to conduct audits. He mentions Wes Lang to handle electrical work. What was he doing? He was bypassing the system. He was bringing in contractors he trusted because he did not trust the government-run process. He was fixing infrastructure without kickbacks, without political middlemen, without protection. In effect, he was creating a parallel state. And worse, he was proving something deeply uncomfortable. He was proving that the job could be done. That embarrassed the very people who were paid to do it, but didn't. Now we move to the day of the assassination, December 16th, Reconciliation Day, a public holiday. Bring up the report from Chrisella Lewis.
Sakina, and in fact, that's what we reported about on arrival at the scene yesterday, was that that particular area is completely surrounded by CCTV cameras. Remember, there was an extensive operation to install CCTV cameras in the Johannesburg CBD to precisely deal with the issue of crime. So it's by no surprise that's the first area that the police were going to look into. And indeed, they did indicate that they are looking for a number of suspects, one believed to have dreadlocks and short. We are expecting possibly some identikits to be released. We're not quite sure of that at this stage.
MMC Choco did say that.
That's right. I did make a call to police this morning and they did indicate they'll be in conversation with the investigating officer. And if they do have those details, I mean, the faster you put those images out, perhaps there is someone who would be able to point police in the right direction.
And the family, you spoke yesterday to DJ Warras' sister, Nicole, and, you know, obviously a very somber moment for them, having to keep it together. And I must say it was really, really moving when you saw the pathology van taking the remains away and the family having to clean up, you know, the blood stains on the pavement there. But what are they saying at the moment, Chris?
Well, Sakina, if we could ask our team to please bring up the latest statement from the family. In fact, just a few moments before we went to air, the family releasing this latest statement indicating that it's with heartbreak and deep sorrow, you know, an overwhelming shock that, of course, they were announcing the untimely passing of DJ Warras. The family speaks about what an incredible human being he is, how he leaves behind 3 young children, his mother and his siblings, who are completely devastated at this time over what has taken place. They're also asking for privacy during this time. They indicate that they've not appointed a spokesperson. They're not in a position to appoint a spokesperson. So the family is just asking to be kept in their thoughts and prayers at this stage. They've also, you know, welcomed the outpouring of love and support. I mean, since news broke of DJ Warras' gunning down in the Johannesburg CBD, you know, there was so much outpouring of love. And also, Sakina, it highlights once again the big question that needs to be asked is, with the building, and MMC Chwako was quite correct. We reported about this yesterday, that DJ Warras was indeed, you know, called in to assist with that hijacked building. There are a number of individuals, I understand, who are not paying rental in that building. The owner wants to reclaim the building. So DJ Warras was brought in for those particular purposes. And I understand from some of our very close sources, this included some security measures that he was going to install, including biometrics. So if you don't pay your rent, we can lock you out, right? We have a consistent issue relating to hijacked buildings in the Johannesburg CBD, very well documented. So there's a huge belief at this stage that this indeed was a hit relating to, it's a huge business, Sakina. I understand that the so-called kingpins who run these operations could easily charge about 3,500 to give you a place to stay, which is not yours, and instead of paying rent, indeed, and then you just pay the money over to them, which completely doesn't make sense. Why not just pay the rent? So that is the consistent issue that they're dealing with in the Johannesburg CBD, and you could feel a sense of fear. It was very difficult to speak to anyone who was in that area yesterday, because a fear of they might possibly be attacked for saying anything about a huge issue in the Johannesburg CBD. Why is it so difficult to reclaim these hijacked buildings? They're huge syndicates, we understand, that are operating, or, you know, it's a huge business relating to hijacked buildings in the Johannesburg CBD. So that latest statement released by the family at this stage, what we do know is that police are following possible leads relating to the suspects in this particular matter. And we'll wait to see if those identikits will be released by police in the next couple of hours.
Griselda, Dr. Chwako also speaks about DJ Warras being there alone, which was a bit unusual, because generally when he would go to that building, he would have a trusted confidant, a person with him who was always by his side, who was not there yesterday. Were you able to pick up anything more on that side of the story?
Look, Sakina, from what we know is that, and also listening to what Dr. Chwako spoke about yesterday, he had mentioned that DJ Warras was in the company of the owner of that block of flats. So I don't know if that's changed at the moment. We're still waiting for a whole lot more information. Of course, police are not going to disclose too much, because it could put that next person at risk as well. So we'll wait to hear what the latest is from police pertaining to that. But from my close sources, I understand that he had come from downstairs. There had been, and I saw Dr. Chwako had also mentioned it today, relating to the I beg your pardon, the biometrics to ensure that the building is reclaimed. That was part of the process. And when he had gone downstairs, he had gone towards the corner of the street. And that's, I think, where the first shots had rung out. And he ran towards the entrance of the building once again, but unfortunately, he did not make it. That's the sense that we're getting at the moment. Of course,
where street-level crime connects directly to state-level corruption. Chrisella Lewis is one of the best reporters in the country. She was on the scene while the police tape was still up, and she pointed out a detail that makes this entire case impossible to ignore. She said the area outside Carlton Center and Zambezi House is, and this is a direct quote, completely surrounded by CCTV cameras. The city of Johannesburg spent millions installing these cameras to fight crime, and DJ Warras mocked those projects. In the podcast, he said technology means nothing without boots on the ground. Now sit with the irony. He was gunned down in high definition. He was killed directly in front of the lens. The cameras watched him die, but they didn't lift a finger to save him. According to the police report, a short man with dreadlocks approached him. Let's profile this hit. This was not a robbery. Yes, South Africa has a high crime rate, but when people get held up in the CBD, the motive is usually clear. They want your car. Warras was driving a nice one. They want your phone. He had a high-end smartphone in his pocket, the same phone he used to tweet those jokes about hiding. They want your wallet. But the short man with dreadlocks took none of that. He didn't take the car. He didn't take the phone. He didn't take the wallet. He took DJ Warras's life. That was the only commodity he was interested in. The shooter walked up, fired 4 shots into the chest and 1 into the chin, then fled on foot. Fleeing on foot in the CBD is not panic. It's professional. If you escape in a car, you get stuck in traffic. You get caught by license plate readers. But if you disappear into a crowd of 10,000 people, you become invisible. You become a ghost. And yet, there is one detail in Chrisella Lewis's reporting that should keep everyone awake at night. She spoke to Dr. Chaco at the scene, and they mentioned something crucial. When Warras usually went to Zambezi House, he was not alone. He had someone with him, a trusted confidant, a bodyguard, a partner, a shadow. But on December 16th, the day the short man with dreadlocks was waiting, Warras was alone. Why? Why was he alone on a public holiday? Who told him to come to the building that day? Who knew his schedule? Who knew his protection wouldn't be there? This implies intelligence. This implies surveillance. This implies inside knowledge. Someone knew exactly where he would be and when he would be vulnerable. And that takes us back to those tweets. Glamini, put the comments back on the screen. When Senzo wrote RIP in advance, and when Castle Larger asked for his ID number, maybe they weren't threatening him. Maybe they were leaking information. In the townships, news travels fast. Before a hit happens, there's a whisper. Word moves quietly through the streets. Don't stand next to him. Don't be seen with him. Maybe those Twitter users heard the whisper. Maybe they were trying to warn him in the only language they knew, that the contract was already signed. But Warras was a celebrity. He was used to haters, used to trolls. He misread the signal. He thought they were joking. He joked about hiding. He didn't realize they were warning him. Because 17 days later, when he stepped out of his car at Zambezi House, there was nowhere left to hide. The most heartbreaking part of this story is the end. But we need you to stay with us. Don't let this story die. Don't let them sweep DJ Warras under the rug the same way they washed his blood off the street. I want to know what you think. Do you believe this was an inside job? Do you think those Twitter comments were warnings from the street? Tell us in the comments below. And Glamini, cut the feed.